Alright, so I am once again 14 hours into fasting. This is my sweet zone. Every time I'm about 14-15 hours into fasting, I start to think to myself, I wish I never had to eat again, because my heart is very light. I can do a lot of things that are difficult to tolerate when I have a full stomach. And this morning I was just on a Zoom call I was interviewing somebody for our university. Some of my colleagues were there too, and the conversation got a little bit overwhelming, you know, everybody wanting to interrupt, and that's the kind of conversation that bothers me a lot, or at least it used to, because I have a very limited capacity for how many things I could hold in my mind. And when I want to say something and I need to hold on to it for dear life, and then all this extraneous information is coming at me, that could be very overwhelming. But earlier today, I was able to take it one step at a time. I was jotting on a notepad what I wanted to say and what I was hearing, and that was good. When I was on a full stomach, see, even that horn over there doesn't seem to bother me so much. I just have to think about how do I strategize making this video. That's what I meant by my heart is light when I'm fasting. Anyways, let's see if we can get away from that. Yeah, my car has a tendency to do that too. To give you an idea of how frustrating not fasting can be for me, one time I had misplaced my keys while I was out in downtown Seattle, if I remember correctly. And while I was looking for them, I was opening doors and the alarm would go off. And I couldn't turn the alarm off because I didn't have the keys. And I got so frustrated, I kicked the door of my car. And just out of frustration, because I was embarrassed at the fact that my alarm was going off while I'm looking for my keys. And I was screaming, I can't find my keys, I can't find my keys, because everybody was looking my direction. See, had I been in a fasted state, that incident might not have played out that way. Anyways, as I speak now, we got this gust of wind, and I don't seem to be bothered by it. So that's what I meant by being lightweight. I made a little bit of a phrase about intermittent fasting. You will eat nothing and you will be happy. And that's how I feel about intermittent fasting. The unfortunate part is, obviously, there's no such thing as being in a 14-hour fast forever, right? You either go from 14 to 15 or you go back to 0, right? There's no way to stay at 14, right? Which is unfortunate, because there are you can plan for a meeting, right? You can fast before a meeting. You could fast before you go on a first date, right? You can fast before you go in for a job interview. That's fine. What you can't fast for is right before the car breaks down, or before your boss wants to call you, or before something happens, right? Before you learn that a family member has died of COVID, right? Unfortunately, the biggest events that you want to fast for, you really can't, right? A lot of times after a big meal, like, I'll go to work and come home and think I have a safe environment for that one big meal, and then something were to happen, right? The toilet in our home breaks down, right? My boss calls me, right? Or you get the idea, right? The other day the car broke down. Thankfully, I was in the fast when the car broke down, right? I might have taken it a little bit differently. Or you want to shoot an interesting YouTube video and you can't find a quiet, well, that you can kind of plan for. Usually my YouTube videos are nothing in a hurry to do. But yeah, I wish I could eat nothing and be happy for the rest of my life. I could do it only like 24 hours at a time, right? That's the unfortunate part. Having said that, it bothers me a lot when I hear about the COVID-19 crisis and how a lot of people are hungry. I mean, look around you. How many people are actually hungry? I mean, some people might be missing their favorite foods. You can acknowledge that part, right? But even during COVID-19, more people are eating themselves to death than starving. Probably even more so during COVID-19, right? There's a joke that the 19 means how many pounds you gained during the quarantine, right? And yet, our leaders are telling us that we're hungry, right? So our leaders keep saying we're hungry because it sells, right? Saying that there are people who are missing out on their favorite foods, they're bored of quarantine, or that they're lonely. That doesn't sell very well, right? And plus, the financial interests of the farming industry, right? It's a lot easier to sell the idea that people need to overeat themselves to death than to say that, you know, they might be missing out on their favorite foods. What else is there to enjoy in life? And how somebody might be eating too much, and why don't you eat less and you'll be happy? That doesn't sell, right? It doesn't sell to the people who are practicing it. It also doesn't sell to the industry, right? And unfortunately, we keep being told we are hungry, which I think is a very dangerous message, because not only are people killing themselves eating, but constantly telling people they're unhappy is definitely not very supportive, right? Now, the other day I was talking about the financial impact that fasting has had on my life, and it inspired me to just look at how much people are spending on food in different places around the world, right? So in the United States, as a whole, it's the number 3 budget item, right? After housing and transportation, apparently. Some places it's number 2. It straddles between 2 and 3 around the United States. But you know what? Go to Poland, maybe not Warsaw or Gdansk, but go to the smaller towns in Poland. It's number 1! And it just saddens me. It just saddens me that we put food at such a center part of our lives when it should just be the fuel to our lives. Right? Imagine if the number 1 expensive item in your computer was the power supply or the battery, right? And the computing was only an afterthought, right? Can you imagine buying a computer that looked like that? That's how we treat our bodies. That's how we treat our bodies, and I think it's sad. Anyways, repeat after me. You will eat nothing and you will be happy. Thanks for watching.